But Asa, queen of, El, phase shift. So, where the queen of the ancient dragon blood made the phase shift. Uru Asa El M, Jerusalem. Probably we would not need a war over Jerusalem if we knew what it was for. A place where dragon blood can make the phase shift. So, who's this dragon blood, and what was the fire in their blood? Later, with help from Bill, we wrote a paper, and you can read the paper at fusionintheheart.com, about fusion in the blood. And specifically, we were studying the blood of our ancestors, the Anunnaki, the Uru, the Draco. We believe their roots were in Alpha Draconis, and whether you believe that or not is not important, but the chemistry of their blood is instructive. You see, our ancestors, sometimes you call them the Nephilim, fallen Draco, Anunnaki, Sumerian, whatever you call them, origins of Hungarian, Draco. The chemistry lesson remains important, whatever you call them. The chemistry lesson is, from their star system, their blood was lipid-based. Lipid, L-I-P-I-D. It was an oil, lipid-based blood. And for them, they were nitrogen breathing. It's called the plague of Azoth, the plague of nitrogen. And for them, oxygen was a poison. The wars they came from in Orion were called the Oxygen Wars for a reason. It's the basis of the movie Total Recall, about the Oxygen Wars. It's those who want high oxygen versus those who want low oxygen. And if your blood chemistry is poisoned by oxygen, then obviously you don't want high oxygen. Also, for their lipid-based, nitrogen-breathing blood, that the water in the blood of meat would be a poison to them. So the origin of the kosher in the Jewish tradition requires understanding Draco blood to understand where it came from. Did you know that on Alpha Draconis, the men and the women have a separate language called Emesa and Emesa? Anton Parks describes in detail. And exactly the same is true for the Australian Aboriginals. The men and the women must have a different language by law. Do you know the rules that became the marriage law in Aboriginal Australia and caste system in India? Those rules come directly from Alpha Draconis. There's so much we need to know about our ancestors to understand ourselves. Did you know that the culture on Alpha Draconis was female-dominated for a long time? And they came here with a fear of women. When I started studying in graduate school the history of Earth, I concluded the most dominant feature of the history of Earth is the fear of women. And I studied everywhere to figure out where did the fear of women came from. But you know what I found out finally is you cannot learn the origin of the fear of women without understanding the extraterrestrial origin of our ancestors. Anunnaki, Uru, Draco. That was a female-dominated culture. Well, you can see I carry on. And this would be very controversial information. And I'm not asking that you believe this without your own investigation. I do suggest you read Anton Parks. And you should read that paper on the blood chemistry. It's fun. FusionInTheHeart.com. Thank you again to Bill on that. But here is a final point. Here's a final point. Final point I would make. You know when you say, "Come on, baby, light my fire," what you're talking about is passion, right? If you don't have passion, you might as well be dead. Truthfully. So, we electrical engineers, we would like to understand a little bit about the nature of passion. Now, you can regard this as a fairy tale. I regard it as true history. But the story is that Enki, Samuel, when Enki selected which of the Rh negative rhesus monkey, which of the monkey blood he was going to genetically modify to make Adam and Eve, he chose a species where he saw that monkey exhibit compassion to other animals. And he had never seen compassion in his whole life before. And that's how he selected the monkey that would be fun to work with genetically. He saw passion. Now, in order to remember this story, you can make jokes at the expense of English people, if you like. You see, the greatest concentration of Rh negative blood on planet Earth is UK, United Kingdom. What does it mean to have a stiff upper lip? This is an old joke. Sorry, Valerie, my jokes are getting old. Sorry. But a stiff upper lip is when you're in a House of Lords and you have a stiff upper lip, you come out very well. But the physics is that when you're a little boy, if your mother, Elizabeth from Lizard born, if your mother says, "Don't cry," to a little boy, the biophysics is it will cause your upper lip to get stiff. True physics. So the cause of a stiff upper lip is mother says, "Don't cry." It means repressed emotion. It's classic neuro-linguistic programming, classic physics of emotion. So why do you have a stiff upper lip in England? Remember, we're going to make jokes about all the cultures, hopefully, but we'll just do British people for now. But the stiff upper lip means no passion, repressed emotion. What is Rh negative mean? Rh negative blood, concentrated in UK, means the rhesus monkey is absent. What's left? The reptilian, the Draco, right? Very intelligent, but stiff. Lack of passion. Why do they have lack of passion? Well, the rhesus monkey had passion and compassion, which Enki never saw before. The rhesus monkey blood was dominant. The reptilian blood was recessive. Very important to know. The inbreeding in the reptilians, you know, the story of the bloodlines of Europe, Holy Blood, Holy Grail. We could do the Da Vinci Code here very easily. But my point was that if your blood chemistry does not permit you to have fire or fusion in your blood, you physically do not have DNA radio, so you cannot feel other people's feelings as if they are your own. Remember that plasma fire in George Edgley's lab. Everybody around is healed. They're sucked in. It's a plasma fusion device in the sense of Holy Communion. You see what the Holy Communion is that allows me to feel you? Is if I can have that plasma fusion going on in my blood. If I don't have that plasma fusion, if I succumb to a mechanical culture, then I can't feel your feelings as if they're mine, because my blood needs to be on fire to feel the fire in your blood. And that is the physics of plasma fusion. So, the end of this conference will be Bill telling you about solutions to energy from imploding technology. Bill says that every one of the devices that he is going to show you that do zero-point energy, almost all of them have one thing in common. The golden spiral and the spiral on the cone. Why? Implosive collapse. Gain energy during collapse, during fusion. So whether it's energy or architecture or physics, it all starts with one simple symmetry principle. And I promised everyone here that we would show a few pictures of how we build that into an agriculture device. This is that nozzle, that cone. In the imploder for agriculture, the same way you do fusion in the blood, I just want to do an animation of that cone, so it's so beautiful the way that cone works. Here is the architecture of the perfect implosion cone applied to agriculture. When water goes down that cone, it implodes. It gains spin density and it becomes centripetal. And we have a dramatic effect on seed germination, on growth in agriculture. So much so that that's a successful commercial product, theimploder.com. This is the geometry of that cone. You see where we got that cone from? This is a practical application. Restored centripetal forces. Implosion for agriculture. So there are so many products that can be designed when you understand the nature of implosion. Restored centripetal force basically is our planet returning to a more ordered state. So, on that note, I urge you all to get fractal, to be like the rose. And I thank you very much. So, about what, 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and then Bill will speak on zero-point energy. Thank you. Okay.
Awesome.